New York City, February 14th, 1952, early in the morning, as the winter snow covered the streets of Brooklyn, a black Lincoln car stopped near an old warehouse by the river, and one man stepped out alone. His name was Victor Moreno, and in the underworld of America, he was known as the Saint, not because he was kind, but because when he spoke, even killers listened. Victor Moreno was not simply a crime boss. He was the man who ended wars without violence and solved problems without ever raising his voice. And on this morning, his men waited for him inside the warehouse, standing still. Knowing something had gone very wrong, Victor looked at them calmly and asked one simple question: who did this? And after a moment of silence, his closest associate, Louis Carter, answered and said it was Elias Green, the ruler of Harlem. And when Victor heard that name, his body froze, because Elias Green was not afraid of the families, and he did not answer to anyone. Victor then asked, what did he take? And Louis lowered his voice and said, your son. And in that moment, Victor Moreno felt fear for the first time in decades. For many years, no one in New York knew that Victor Moreno had a child, not the mafia, not the police, and not even his closest allies more than 20 years earlier. Victor had fallen in love with a black nurse from the Bronx named Ruth Williams. She was strong, intelligent, and fearless. And when she became pregnant, Victor offered to disappear with her and start a new life. But Ruth refused and told him that he could not be a father in his world of blood and power, and that their child deserved a future free from fear. So she named the boy Daniel and raised him alone while Victor watched from a distance, paying for school sports and eventually college, but never once stepping into his son's life. Daniel Moreno was sitting calmly in a quiet office in Harlem when Elias Green spoke to him and told him that everything he believed about his father was a lie. Daniel had been told that his father died long ago, but Elias showed him documents, photographs, and years of financial records, all pointing to one name: Victor Moreno. And Elias explained that he did not take Daniel to hurt him, but to stop a war because Victor was about to destroy Harlem, without realizing that his own son would be the cost of that destruction, and Daniel was the only weakness Victor Moreno had ever hidden. That same night, Victor Moreno entered an abandoned church alone, without a weapon or guards, and there he met Elias Green face to face. And when Victor demanded his son back, Elias calmly explained that this was not revenge or blackmail, but balance, because Victor ruled through fear, while Elias ruled through loyalty, and that difference was why Harlem stood united. Elias then laid out his conditions: that Harlem would remain independent forever, that Victor would pay to repair the damage his empire had caused to innocent families, and that he would finally sit down with his son and tell him the truth without lies or excuses. Victor later sat across from Daniel and admitted that he was not a good man, and that he had chosen power over love and survival over family when Daniel asked if he had loved his mother. Victor said yes without hesitation, and when Daniel asked why he left, Victor answered honestly and said, because I was afraid. And although Daniel did not forgive him that night, he also did not turn away. And for Victor Moreno, that was more mercy than he had ever expected. Within a year, Victor Moreno disappeared from the criminal world. Some said he died in Italy. Others believed he was killed quietly, but the truth was never known. Harlem remained independent and free, and Daniel Moreno became a civil rights lawyer who fought for people without power and never hid his name. And Elias Green ruled Harlem until his death without fear or secrets, proving that real power does not come from violence, but from loyalty and respect. Some men are remembered for what they built, and others for what they destroyed. But Victor Moreno was remembered for the one thing he finally learned too late: that even the most feared man in the world can regret the choices he made.